It is 8:41. Welcome back to Breakfast Television on City. The spring sitting of the legislature begins today. Marks the first time Jason Kenney will be in the House. The significance of today not less lost on Jason Markusoff, our friend from Maclean's. Jason's article, his piece this week, looks at Kenney's long and winding road to the ledge today and becoming the leader of the UCP and sitting, of course, speech from the thrones at 3 this afternoon. Should we be popping popcorn, do you think? Is there going to be fireworks over the next couple of weeks, do you think?
Well, the real fireworks are probably going to be on Monday when we get the first question period. The way they do the session, today they'll have the throne speech and have all this pomp and ceremony and trumpets from the rafters. Then Friday they take off, so it's like 1 day work week for them in a way. And then Monday is going to start the several weeks of question periods. That's when we'll really see the fur fly, I think.
Yeah, because there's the motion. The NDP, Premier Notley's NDP, wants all MLAs to vote in favor of kind of throwing Alberta's support as a whole behind moving forward with Trans Mountain, right?
Well, it's not just Alberta's support.
Sure.
We all support the government of Alberta, which implicitly means we all support what Premier Notley is doing. And you'd be surprised to know that Jason Kenney isn't super, and UCP isn't super ready to praise the government on a public forum. They're going to try to negotiate this motion. I mean, everybody already knows that all parties are basically against what the BC government is doing on the Trans Mountain pipeline. But it's going to be this jostling over who gets the credit, who gets to take the lead. Kenney, having been in BC last week, is certainly trying to take the leadership into his own hands.
Oh, no kidding. He was speaking like a premier in waiting, in my opinion, as to what he was doing there.
Well, I think he's been kind of making that posture since he landed on the provincial scene back in July 2016. A couple things. One, he's familiar with BC as immigration minister for Harper and as the multicultural point man. He spent more time in Vancouver and Richmond, BC, campaigning with ethnic communities, the Sikhs, the Chinese communities of Lower Mainland. That he admitted to me that he's probably more recognized in a Richmond, BC Chinese mall than he would be in parts of Calgary.
I know,
so that's familiar to him there. And yeah, he wants to show his toughness. He wants to show that he's going to go farther and act tougher than Rachel Notley, which is easy for him to do in a way because he's an opposition leader and he can't do anything yet. If Rachel Notley says, I'm going to turn off the taps on BC's oil or natural gas, there's a gravitas behind that.
Exactly.
She has to do it.
Exactly. There's an old saying in politics, right? It's easy to be in opposition. It's much tougher to govern a country or a province in this case. Okay, so that leads me to my next question then. Has the campaign started for 2019? Does it start today for 2019?
Gosh, it's been permanent.
Months ago.
The campaign has officially begun. Is like a constant thing. We'll say at every single point in this. What I'll be looking for in this throne speech is to see how much of it is sort of a defensive posture against what the UCP is going to do. This is a government document, essentially. This is laying out the government's agenda. But how much are they going to talk about what they perceive the UCP might do? That we're going to invest, we're not going to cut, we're going to protect GSAs, not threaten people who are in gay straight alliances. Like how much of it's going to be a reaction to what might come, and how much of it is actually going to be ignoring the opposition and just saying, here's how we're going to govern because we are the government. I'm the premier.
Jason's piece, by the way, on Jason Kenney in Maclean's is fantastic. You should read it. One line that jumped out at me, and I highlighted it, the whole thing is kind of looking ahead to 2019 and what's coming down the pike, so to speak. Alberta's 2019 election will pit Canada's least left-wing NDP leader against its most right-wing conservative. So the lines are drawn. We're ready to go, pretty much.
It is, and I feel like that line was meant to sort of like a reflection of what Alberta is and what they are, relatively speaking. The Alberta NDP, Rachel Notley's NDP, is much more moderate than John Horgan's NDP government or the federal NDP under Jagmeet Singh. They are really straight down the middle, or much more so straight down the middle than others. I mean, they're going to be left of a Liberal government, and Jason Kenney, he talks about being bold. We shouldn't be squishy Liberals as Conservatives. And he was talking about that in Ottawa a few weeks ago to a Conservative group, or the Manning Institute. He wants to be bold. He wants to be strong. And he's proud to be a Conservative in a way that he fears that some others aren't. So, like I said, this is the most conservative leader, Jason Kenney, versus the least socialist, I would say, NDP leader. That doesn't mean that it's like a centre government versus a right government, but it's going to be an interesting context here in Alberta.
It will, definitely. All right. Thank you, Jason Markusoff. Always great to get your opinion and your perspective on things. 3 this afternoon, Andy. That's when the speech from the throne is going to be read by our Lieutenant Governor.
Well, not quite warm enough to bring a chair onto the deck and follow it live, but we've got patio-type weather.